Like, we need the good home inspectors. We need to like give them their space. We need agents to give each other space. Like, everyone's here for a reason. And if a deal has to fall out, it has to fall out. It just is what it is. But we also need to make sure that our clients are protected one way or another.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, well, obviously, we don't want deals to fall out. We want your deals to close so that we can all move on to the
Right.
next one. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I said,
Mm-hmm.
better to walk away from a deal than get sued later.
Hello, everyone. Rick Albert here with another episode of The Key to the City of Angels. I'm here with Ian Mayer of I Am Home Inspections. How are you, sir?
Nice. Thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. It'll be good. I had actually interviewed a home inspector months ago, and I know a lot's changed, so we can kind of talk about that. But before we go into that, we're going to talk about home inspections and what you're seeing. How did you get into this space?
How I got into this space. Oh, that's an interesting story into itself. I originally went to college, got a finance degree, was at somewhere, and I met someone says, "Oh, looking for some of the finance degree. Come work for our wholesale mortgage company." And I had never worked in real estate before, so I was like, "All right." I worked for a wholesale mortgage company, and I just really fell in love with everything real estate. Like a lot of people, I moved to LA to be a musician, and that's a very hard life. And the joke is, I said I was going to make it in the music business or die trying, and one day I woke up and went, "I don't want to die that badly." But I've always had a great mind for finding problems and pointing out things that aren't right. And the wholesale mortgage company was the first job I ever had where they're like, you know what, that's awesome because we have all these problems and we need someone to figure them out.
Yeah.
I was in the back office. I was doing post closing underwriting. So loans that have already funded, that are getting kicked back from Wall Street investors, figuring out what's wrong, what happened, whose fault it
Mm-hmm.
was it a bad appraisal, a bad title, a bad this, a bad whatever. Which is, for me, it was like, great, you're going to pay me to sit around and be negative. I can do that. So one of my favorite things was appraisals, looking at the appraisals, looking at all the pictures of the houses, and arguing with guys in New York about the value of a house because they're like, the house down the street from it's only half this much. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't understand LA. You can cross the street and
Right.
get a much nicer neighborhood.
Sure.
And from there, I was able to make enough money to buy my first house, which was a complete fixer upper. It was four walls, foundation. The roof leaked. Like my wife and I would get up in the middle of the night and change the buckets when it rained. It leaked so bad.
Where was it?
It was in Reseda,
Okay.
smack middle of the valley. And but it was great. So we would fix up one room and camp in the next room. Like we would camp in this house, and then we'd move
Mm-hmm.
our camp and fix up the next room. And after a while, I was like, this being in a house is a lot more fun than just sitting in an office looking at pictures of houses all day, writing reports about pictures of houses. It'd be a lot more fun to be in the house and write reports about the house itself. So I really got interested in home inspections. And also, it was frustrating me that we never had the home inspection report. Because I'm trying to argue value, and sometimes we're arguing over dollars. And I'm like, maybe the home inspection report could really push this one way or the other. And we never had them, which I thought was strange. So I really got interested in home inspections. And then the economy crashed, and everybody in real estate got laid off, and you couldn't get a real estate job. And around the same time, my mom passed away. My wife got pregnant with her child. And I was like, I can't start a business right now. So I went and did a bunch of other things, but it was still in the back of my head. I really want to do this home inspection thing. And then one day I found myself laid off from another completely unrelated job. And I was like, okay, I need something that I'm not going to get laid off from. And so that's how, and I still had the home inspection to the back of my head. I wrote down a list of like possible career choices at this point, and home inspections just really stuck out. And I'm like, I just have this great. There's a book called Now Discover Your Strengths. It's part of a series of management books I read. And it was like, if you've got these abilities, use them. And like most places get me in trouble for being negative. Home inspections is one of the careers where like people will pay me to walk into a house and go, this is all wrong. So for me, it was just like once I got into it, it was like putting on like an old pair of comfortable jeans. This is what I've been made to do my entire life.
Yeah.
And People say, well, you know all the codes. I can memorize codes. If I can memorize stuff to pass a test in college, I can memorize codes. We're not code
Right.
setters per se. At this point, I have a vast knowledge of building codes and traditions and how things work and how things should be. And it just really, it was easy to me.
Yeah.
And so I've been doing it 11 years at this point, and I still feel like I'm just getting my feet wet.
There's always something new, right? Like almost
Obviously.
every transaction I've done, there's
Mhm.
something, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's inspections, loan, whatever, exactly. But I think that's actually a good way to kind of segue. So no home is perfect.
No.
And I have this conversation with my buyers all the time,
Mhm.
and sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't. So I guess like over the last even 6 months, couple of years, even what changes? Like, what are some of the common things you're seeing in houses when you're inspecting them right now?
The things that I don't think we're seeing a whole lot of changes as much as we're seeing people are starting to take it, of course, more seriously now. For a couple of years, it was like, we're going to home inspection and the home has these problems. And like, we put in 10 offers and this is the only one that got accepted. I guess we're going to buy it anyway. Now people
Mm-hmm.
are like, oh, let's negotiate on this.
Got it. So this
That's
is
how,
about leverage.
it's a little more leverage, a little more taking it seriously. I mean, there are some new things. Heat pumps are becoming more popular. People are getting rid of gas furnaces and going to electric heat pumps. So we are definitely
Hmm.
starting to see that.
Is that because of solar panels?
It's a little bit of panic from the gas leak in Porter Ranch a couple years ago.
Yeah, I remember
The,
that.
the state is saying maybe we shouldn't do so much gas and rely on gas. Originally, that was a little silly because gas is much cheaper than electricity.
That's why I was thinking the solar panels.
Now there's new technology, and electric heat pumps are becoming much more cheaper to operate over time.
Okay.
So we are seeing people pulling out their gas appliances and putting in electric where possible. And I think the other thing that's maybe changed a lot in the last few years is sewer inspections. When I started,
Mm,
nobody got a sewer inspection. When I bought my house 18 years ago, it wasn't even a thing. And then I had all sorts of problems with my sewer pipes.
yeah.
And then, so we started offering sewer inspections about 6 years ago, and we got 30-40% people were getting the sewer inspection. Now it's probably more like 80%. Almost
Yeah.
everybody wants the sewer inspection now. Because agents like yourself, they've all had that bad experience where they sold a house, everything went great, the home inspection went fine, and then 6 months later, all the toilets back up, and they're going, "What the heck?"
Yeah.
And underground utilities are not visible, so they're generally not part of a general home inspection. And so I think most agents at this point are like, "No, you're getting the sewer inspection. Please." I've had agents beg their clients, pay extra for the sewer inspection. We need it. You want it.
It's interesting. I haven't, because I always recommend general sewer, chimney, termite, and mold at a minimum, and then add-ons if either we know of something or something comes up from an inspection. I rarely get pushback,
Well,
which
that's
is
good.
interesting.
That means you're educating your clients ahead of time. I think one of the things I would to lecture on when given the opportunity is why you want to have recommend your inspections. Set the expectations up front. You're
Hmm.
dealing with your buyer. Let them know that they're going to have to spend money on inspections, and it's not an extra cost. It's for your protection, and it's also for the agent's protection.
For
Uh,
sure.
this is something that's I think the biggest common misconception is a lot of agents have this. Oh, this damn home inspector's going to come along. He's going to ruin my deal, and he's going to point out all the problems, and now they're not going to want to buy the house. And no, we're there to save you from getting sued later because nobody wants to be the real estate agent who sold the house with the unhappy client.
Right. It's all about the experience. That's how you get referrals.
Exactly. That's why I tell
But
agents,
like,
good agents live and die on referrals.
yeah.
So how
But
to
okay,
have
let me ask you this: have you ever had someone pissed at you because you couldn't find a lot of items?
only once.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I'm paying you, and you didn't find anything. It's
But not that we
that's a
didn't
good
find
thing.
anything, but the seller worked worked in the industry and knew what a home inspector would point out and went ahead and fixed it all ahead of time. And
Okay.
the buyers had overbid what they really wanted to pay, hoping that they would get the inspection and get it down to the price they want.
Uh,
So it
Okay.
really had nothing to do with me finding things or not finding things, but the buyer had their strategy and the seller had their strategy ahead of time, and the strategies converged when he already fixed the broken outlet, he already fixed the broken thing, he already disclosed this one thing didn't work up front before you even made the offer. But that's pretty rare.
Yeah. I'm about to close on one of my listings, and what we did was actually a home inspection ahead of time.
Oh, those are great.
And then so we did that, and then reviewed it with the sellers. We made a list of all the things we're going to fix, and then also commented on some other things because, and maybe you can touch a little bit. Is like home inspections are part. Hey, here's everything wrong. Some of it is going to be, hey, these are new building codes, so it's arguably an upgrade, and then some of it could be part opinion. So
Yeah.
on some of it, it's okay. This is the home inspector's opinion, but here are the facts. And so we did that. We got 2 offers, gave everything home inspection, disclosures. Here's a list of the work that we're going to do. It basically took the wind out of their sails. They end up coming back and asking for $1,500. And I'm like, I'm not going to lose a deal over $1,500 in the big scheme of
That's
things.
fine. There's the saying, whoever has the most information first wins. Basic inspection, you get all that information up front. There's no last minute surprises. There's no, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. Because that's usually what we hear from sellers. Nobody told me that was a problem. Most people don't look in their attic or go into their old house or.
Which is fair. That's reasonable. Like when we did it, we found out there was a leak from a toilet. It's okay, let's get it fixed. No one had any idea.
Exactly.
So it makes sense.
I wish everybody got pre-listing home inspections.
Have you noticed? Because one of the things, oh, go ahead.
Every agent I've ever worked with who does pre-listing home inspections says the deal is closed quicker with less hiccups because everything gets, like I said, gets closed up front, and you either fix it or you disclose it and let the buyer deal with it. But so many agents resist that. They're like, no, I don't want to know because if I know, now I'm liable. I'm like, so that's what disclosures are for.
Right? It's like yeah. The only time I probably wouldn't is if I already know the house, let's say, is a tear down. It's like they're going to tear it down anyways. Maybe if the house is new construction or close to it, it's okay, maybe. But you're right. It's like, at least for me, 100% of my clients have either done a home inspection or there already was one done, and it was by like a home inspector that we knew. So we're like, cool, we're fine. Either way, some sort of inspection was completed.
You always want a third party looking at things.
I agree. Yeah, no, for sure. Have you been noticing? Because one of the concerns is, let's take the Porter Ranch example. A lot of those homes were built in like the 90s.
Yes.
And I was showing a client a home, different area, but those homes were also built in the 90s. And I said, look, as far as we're concerned, 90s is young. But for a house, everything is towards the end of its useful life.
Correct.
So have you noticed in terms of some of these quote unquote newer builds, we're starting to see more issues?
So like you said, things that don't seem very old can age really quick. I think it's perception, especially as we all get older. Suddenly 20 years ago, you think, oh, that wasn't that old. And then you go, well, yeah, but a furnace lasts about 20 years. And sometimes you see that with people who've lived in their house a really long time. We just put that roof on. It looks 25 years old. Yeah, we put it on 25. Oh. So, yeah, when you're in a house in the 90s, it's probably pretty well built. But yeah, things like the heater and the air conditioner and the water heater, they're all probably starting to go if they're not already been replaced. There's probably been at least one leak somewhere that created a little bit of damage that's been repaired. Things happen. Houses, much like cars or the human body, you got to take care of them, and they can need to be repaired now and then.
And I've had clients, like when home inspections are happening and things are called, how come the seller didn't catch it? I'm like, if it ain't broke, they don't fix it. You don't have a roof leak, you're not going to fix the roof. Mm-hmm. That's just how people naturally, they don't think preventative.
Yeah, and there's one big change with ground fault protection outlets, GFCIs, in the kitchen. In the 80s, it became a thing, and so a lot of houses in the 90s, they put the GFCIs right by the sink. Then, so first rule was 3 feet, and then a few years later, they changed it to 6 feet. And then a few years later, now it's every outlet along the kitchen counter is supposed to be GFCI. So that's one
Right.
thing you will find in a '90s house is, yeah, they have them, but they're only by the sink. They're not around the whole counter. Um,
Yeah. Which, to be fair, I guess the idea of water shooting 6 feet across is probably somewhat unlikely, but you never know. I guess if a
well,
pipe
it has to
burst.
do with cooking. Now we have our
Right.
crock pots and our blenders and our coffee makers. And so water is no longer just by the sink. We're taking water around the counter with our various cooking devices. That's the thought
Right.
process.
Yeah. No, and that's fair. Look, you, a lot of these building codes, and correct me if I'm wrong, they tend to be more like reactive than proactive. So something must have happened for them to trigger the change.
Usually, yeah, something happens somewhere at some point, and
Right.
someone decided we should create a law about that and make every house there's pool swimming pools have to have a
Hmm.
particular kind of drain cover because one person got their hair caught in it and drowned, and I think it was the daughter of a senator or someone important in politics.
Mm,
And so now it's a national rule that we have to have these new drain covers, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, but that's
right.
usually how these laws come about is something bad happened to one person or a couple people, and so now we make it a new national building code.
Yeah. So what has been, at least from the home inspection space, the home inspection landscape, how's it really changed in LA? Let's say over the last like decade or so.
Nothing came to mind to answer your earlier question, but over the decade, it's definitely been the sewer scopes has
Hmm.
been the big thing. That's definitely changed. As I said, when I started the company 11 years ago, nobody was doing sewer scopes. And then 5 years in, some people were doing them and then changed. Now almost everybody's doing them. One thing that really has changed in the last year is insurance companies now care about the inspection report.
Hmm.
The insurance companies never used to care about inspection reports. So take something like a Zinsco panel. For decades, inspectors have been calling out Zinsco panels as, well, they're known to have a high rate of failure. But there's no recall, there's no code against them. You can still get a permit to rebuild your house and keep your single Zinsco panel, even though we know they're bad. So it's always this home inspectors are going to say they're bad, electricians are probably going to say they're bad, but no one else is going to say they're bad. And so it's up to you if you want to change it or not. Now insurance companies are like, no, we're not going to give you insurance if you have a Zinsco panel. And so that's probably the biggest really change we've seen over the last year, 2 years, is insurance companies are now basically saying, we're deciding what's in the inspection report is good or bad, or not necessarily what the inspector thinks, not necessarily what whatever common knowledge is. If the insurance company sees the Zinsco panel, denying insurance. If they see a Federal Pacific panel, denying insurance. If they see the roof needs to be changed, they're going to deny insurance until it's fixed. It used to be like these were just negotiation things. Buyer, seller, figure out what's
Right.
important to you. Do you want to live with it? Plenty of people used to go to the house and like, you said that panel's dangerous, but I can live with it. Now it's no, the
Yeah.
insurance company says you have to change it. So that's I don't know, definitely become a big change in even how we word certain things. It used to be like this is a gray area. Now it doesn't really matter what I think about it. Your insurance company's going to tell you to change it.
Now, do you guys call that out? Hey, look, here's some issues. Here's what insurance companies may call out, or is it like no, because every insurance company has their own guidelines?
Yeah, I can't speak for insurance companies. I can just tell you what's going on, what's trending, as you say. So
Mm,
we're seeing more and more coming back on more and more people. I can just say most insurance companies are not going to cover this. Yours,
yeah.
it started in Florida a couple years ago. Like insurance companies and home inspection in Florida are much more intertwined than they are in California. But so I knew about these issues, and I talked to some insurance agents a couple years ago. And they're like, "Yeah, it could become an issue." And then after we had these all the fires in the last couple years, now all of a sudden it's become a big issue. And so
Yeah.
now I can't say for sure your insurance company will deny you, but I
Sure.
can tell you you're gonna have problems getting insurance, and that's
Yeah. I
probably
actually used that as negotiations when I bought a property out of state. I was like, look, I know we're supposed to buy this as is. We're not asking for anything. Here's the problem. Insurance is going to call this stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I need this fixed or I need this credit. And I basically pinned it on the insurance company because I wanted the seller to realize, oh crap, if we cancel, insurance might come after me anyways to fix this stuff.
Yeah, the first year I had my house in Reseda because the roof was so bad we couldn't get insurance on it. So we just transferred the buyer's insurance into my name without anything for the first
Oh,
year
interesting.
until I got it fixed. And then even when I went to get find insurance under my own name, finally get my own policy, it was they wanted photos and proof of everything
Yeah.
for the roof, and that was years ago. Now it's a lot more. We're getting a lot more requests for the insurance company to get a copy of the report or a
Yeah.
letter saying, that we inspected the property and this is what we found or didn't find.
But they don't ask you to comment. They just say, here's what you just state the facts. We sell
We
this and
stick to the
this. You don't
fact.
say, hey, the roof's in good shape, not in good shape.
Yeah, we offer our opinions on what we see based on the visual evidence.
Sure.
Try not to guarantee things because obviously that's not our job.
And again, every home inspector is different, right? So what
Well, the issue
their
is
opinion
every
might be
insurance
different.
company wants slightly different language. That's the issue that we has. This insurance company wants you to say the roof won't fall apart. This company wants you to say the exact age of the roof. And I'm like, well,
No one can tell you that unless you have a permit of when it was done.
exactly. So that's probably the
Interesting.
issue with the insurance companies is the language is not standardized. Like in Florida, the language is all standardized. Every home inspector knows what the insurance. There's a one form. There's one set of language. All the insurance companies accept the same thing. It's very organized. In California, we don't have that organization yet, and I thought
Right.
maybe we were going to get there. Every insurance company kind of wants to do it differently.
I guess that's fair. I remember the insurance company did a full on inspection on one of my properties. And then they sent me a list, you got to fix everything. So I sent it to my property manager and I'm like, hey, we got to get these things fixed. He's like, none of this is health and safety. I'm like, look, I don't want to be a slumlord. Is there something that should be fixed? He's like, no, everything's fine. They're just trying to figure out a way not to give you insurance.
Essentially, that's
Like,
what it comes down to.
right. And look, let's be real. You're paying a couple $1,000 a year for them to potentially pay tens of thousands of dollars in repairs. So they had to figure out a way to mitigate their risks. So I do get it. But even for the risk on the buy side, I think you'll appreciate this. I had a listing a few months ago. It was a condo. The buyer's agent needed to schedule a home inspection. So sure, go for it. I'm like, but I need insurance and the information for the HOA because you're going to need it for him to access the roof. Oh, he doesn't have insurance. So we'll just test the AC from inside the unit. I'm like, okay, not my problem because I'm representing the seller. But I was like, out of all things to go wrong in a condo, the most expensive items, unless, again, correct me if I'm wrong because I'm a smartass, not a know it all, is either going to be the panel or the HVAC.
Usually, HVACs in condos are a problem because most people think, oh, the HOA owns it. And in some of the really big buildings like downtown or the really big ones in
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood, they are actually HOA owned. But most of our apartment building or condo buildings, you do have your own AC that you are responsible for, and it's usually on a roof or somewhere really far away from the unit. And the inspector has to go find it. And that's one of the things we always stress: make sure where the AC is so that we can find it. Is it on the roof? Is it on the grounds? Do we have roof access? We do have insurance. That's a common one we get is the HOA wants proof of insurance. Okay, all the ladies in my office have that form sitting on the
Mm-hmm.
drive ready to send. It's scary the inspectors out there that don't have insurance, but
I was like, what if he falls through a roof? But so most buyers rely on their agents for the home inspections, like in terms of who to use. So usually we'll give out 3 or 4 different inspectors, let them choose. That way they can't come back and say, you recommended this specific one. But what can buyers do to like what questions should they be asking when it comes to that kind of stuff? Because if I was their buyer, I'd be pissed if they didn't inspect the HVAC.
yeah, and slightly off topic, but actually, if you read the RPA at the bottom, I think it's section 12, the very last line is about inspector's insurance. the buyer is responsible for the inspector's insurance.
Oh,
And
interesting. Okay.
99% of buyers never ask. And of course, most inspectors, like if the buyer asks, do you have insurance? Are like, why? Because you're planning to sue me in advance. But really, no, it is a thing there. But anyway, what I say for us is reader reviews. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews between Google and Yelp and a couple other sites. You read our reviews, we have far more reviews than just about any other inspection company, way more than any inspection company based in LA. So that's one. You want to look for the certifications. Are they certified by one of the three top agencies, Internachi, Ashi, or Priya? Do they have a good reputation? Do they have insurance? Do they have structures? One thing, how to tell the inspection company when they say, "Great, we're going to email you our agreement and payment link."
Yeah.
Versus, "I'm going to meet you at the house with some paper. Please bring cash."
Yeah.
We're a sophisticated company. We have our documents and processes, and everything's online and automated, and we do it all. We started doing it before COVID, but COVID really pushed it into everything's just not. You don't touch
No
each.
paper.
No pay. Yeah, no paper. When I worked at the wholesale mortgage company where we were going to no paper, a lot of people don't realize real estate has operated on no paper since Bill Clinton was in office. Or as he was like, he's the one who signed the law that digital signatures are okay. Like, we don't need paper. We were completely paperless. So I really think reviews. Do they have a system? Do they have a process? Can they do more of the things? We do the pool inspections in house. We do our sewer inspections in house. We do our mold inspections in house. We're not, you call us, it's pretty much one stop.
Which
Everything,
is helpful.
yeah.
There's only so many hours in the day. I remember back when you had to call
Mhm.
different inspectors for each one.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is exhausting.
Oh, yeah, no. I remember back when it'd be like my agent or one of my top agents would call me, like, all right, yeah, I think I want this sign, but I got to call everybody else first. And I'll get back to you. Like, oh, what a pain about it. No, we do pool and sewer. All my guys carry sewer cameras because I had the bad experience with my own sewer line in the house I own now. So I'm very passionate about sewer inspections. So I train all my guys. I'm very passionate about pool inspections because I love pools, and my gosh, they're complicated. Most people do not realize how many things can go wrong with a pool. Everybody sits there and goes, well,
Oh,
it's a hole in the ground with some water in it. What could go wrong? There's a hole in the ground with water in it and a light bulb hooked up to an electrical pump. And electricity and water, if you remember from science class, don't mix. And almost
right.
every pool we inspect has at least one, if not multiple, electrical safety hazards.
Interesting.
I'm very passionate about that. And my inspector manager is very passionate about mold. His sister's allergic to mold, so he said, we got to offer mold. I'm like, all right. So now we offer mold inspections.
And that's more like the air samples?
Yeah, the air samples, the surface samples.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just it's all about convenience, especially for the speed, right? So
Mhm.
like even in this market where buyers do have a little bit more leverage, the contingencies are still short. And
Correct.
then it's it always works out that properties enter escrow on a Thursday or Friday, which means
Mhm.
you automatically lose the weekend or
We're open
days.
Saturdays. So Saturdays are our busiest day.
Fair enough. Yeah. But even just to make calls or do whatever, it's just, yeah, now we got to schedule everything, but you just don't have enough time. So, what are some misconceptions that you've been seeing with buyers and like the relationship with the home inspector? Because most of them, they buy, this is their first property or they buy once every 5 to 10 years. So much can
Mhm.
change. So,
Right.
what are some of the misconceptions that you've been seeing?
I think one misconception is that we're an advocate to buy or not buy the house. We're
Mm-hmm.
really in the information business. We're in the disclosure business. We're there to inform you about the house.
Yeah.
Um, One thing I like to do is educate people about the house. A lot of people, if they've never lived in their own house, if they've always lived in apartments or they lived with mom and dad, and
Mm,
they don't know an electric, they don't know the gas meter from a plumbing meter. They don't know an electrical panel from a water heater. So I love to include all that education in. And one myth that goes around, I haven't seen it as much lately, but that all the home inspectors are in cahoots with the real estate agents, and we just want everybody to be able to go through. And
I've heard
no,
that.
not. I don't care if you're my best friend and you're a real estate agent. If we find something wrong, we're calling it out. And most good agents want you to call it out because they don't want
Yeah,
to get sued later. They don't want to be representing an unhappy client. It's the bad agents who are, or not the bad agents, maybe the once you don't do too many deals, are sitting there going, "Don't kill my deal with this water heater issue you're bringing up." Good agents, of course, want you to bring up the water heater issues.
yeah.
Um,
Usually, what I tell people is we'll do the inspections and they say, okay, how does this home compare to other homes you've inspected? Most of the time, I hear it's about the same.
that's the thing. If we're on any given block in Los Angeles, whatever, old neighborhood, new neighborhood, we're pretty much going to find the same things. Like I've been
Yeah,
in plenty of houses, and okay, so you're in a 1950s house. It was built, way before any kind of modern safety standards. And you sit there and go, yeah, okay, I've got these 10 serious things wrong with this house. But I bet you if we walked up and down this block and inspected every house on this block, they're pretty much going to have the same things.
yeah,
Older houses are going to have more issues because they're older, not because they're bad.
yeah. They just haven't been maintained.
As long as the roof is good, things that can be changed, you want to look for those things: roofs, air conditioners, heaters. But yeah, in general, most homes are going to have issues, and they're going to be the same issues in pretty much every home of that era. Even new construction, never walked out of new construction and not found anything because people don't realize they're built to whenever the permit was issued, not when
Mm-hmm.
it's finished. Yeah, it was finished in 2021. Yeah, but they started in 2018 and so it's built to 2018 standards. And a few things have
Mm-hmm.
changed since then. The solar panel thing changed. What was it, 2020?
Remember?
And a lot of
Yeah,
people come to, it's a new house. Why doesn't it have solar panel? Because it they got the permit in before that change. They don't
yep.
retroactively go back and now say you have to change all these things.
Yeah, it's funny because I talked to a lot of people about that, and they're like, "Oh, that's great! It's so great that they're required to build solar panels." I said, "Yeah, but in my experience, it doesn't really add value. Like buyers aren't paying a premium for solar panels, so it
Mm,
really just adds to the cost of the development, and the developer is not going to just eat that $30,000.
right.
Someone's going to have to pay for it." I liked what it was before, which was everything was wired to set up for it. So if somebody wanted solar panels, they could have it.
Yes. And we've seen that. The electrical panel will have a little slot. Must leave blank for solar panels. And then someone puts the
Exactly.
car charger in it. And you're like, not quite.
Yeah.
But there was another change that came out in 2018 was the pool fence law when they started saying
Remember
inspectors
that?
document well, it was documented the pool fence, but now became a very stringent list of things. And I think the number one question we got for years after that was who pays for it? Is the buyer side paying for it? Or is the seller paying for it? And the law doesn't say who's paying for it. The law just says the inspector has to put it on the report. And
It
then,
has to be called out. There's 2 of 7 things, right? Like
right,
you have to meet different. It doesn't have to be a pool fence. It could be the pool alarms. I remember those. Those were super annoying. They were on
yes,
all the sliders. So every time we had an open house, it would go off because people wouldn't press the freaking button.
yes, most new construction, yeah, still not putting in pool fences. They're going with alarm systems. And people take the batteries out. Uh,
To be fair, there's a lot of new construction guidelines I've seen over the years. The rain barrels. I don't know
oh,
if you remember those. And I remember seeing new construction homes. I'm like, where are the rain barrels? Like, oh yeah, after inspections they just took them out because nobody likes them because it basically just fills up with water and then what do you do with it? So a lot of
and
builders
that
were
rule seems
taking
to be
them out.
so applied so irregularly because I knew transactions that got held up and couldn't close over rain barrels, and then I would go to other houses that didn't have them and nobody cared, and I never understood how the city viewed. And then yeah,
They were there at some point. That's what
well,
it was, and then it was moved. But the problem is, and this is my understanding, is like it's actually in the CCNRs that you have to maintain them, and actually there's supposed to be like a log. So it's like at some point, I guess in theory, the city can be like, "Where's the log?" And you're like, "Well, for what?" And then
mm,
you're gonna get hit. I've never heard of it actually happening in practice, but in theory, that could happen.
and then people just stopped talking about it and went away.
It just wasn't an issue. So let's talk about new construction. Not just so much new construction, but just the way the math works out. You have to build only in the luxury sector. You can't really build affordable housing. That's a whole nother conversation. Are you seeing differences in how these inspections are being done and performed on these, we'll call it higher price points, right? Let's call it 5 million and above.
It's kind of two separate questions there: luxury inspections and new
Fair.
inspections. New
Okay.
construction, I tend to be much more hard on because the classic is if it's an '80s house or '90s house or whatever, I know if you put the water in the bathtub, it's not going to fall through the floor because it's happened for. If it's a brand new house, I don't necessarily know that. So I'm going to be much more hard on the
Mm,
house with water and filling up all the sinks and all the tubs and seeing, and you wouldn't believe how many end up leaking in the basement or backing up because something happened during construction. So I tend to be much more harder on new construction in really putting it through its paces because you just don't know. When luxury homes, actually, I just wrote an article about this yesterday. Luxury homes, one of the things that we do is we send more than one inspector if it's a bigger house. And because luxury
mm,
homes are going to have way more complicated. Well, I think one of the things people don't realize is it's bigger, so it's twice as big, three times as big. So it'll take you. No, you get in these luxury homes, they're going to have five, six, sometimes 10. I've been in a house that had 16 separate air conditioners. That's a lot
wow.
of extra work. Your normal house has an electric
Hmm.
panel. Maybe it has a sub panel. You get into these big estates in Bel Air, Beverly Hills, Encino, they might have 7, 8, 10 electrical panels throughout the house. And you have to find each one and document each one. And I can't tell you how many times we've been in a really nice luxury home and you're like, oh, first seven panels were great. Then we get to the eighth panel and it's wired backwards. Just because
Hmm.
the more stuff you have, the more chances there are that one little thing was installed wrong. So when it comes to luxury homes, that's why we
Right.
send a team of people because there's a lot more to look at, and it becomes a
Hmm.
lot more complicated because this is controlling this over here and this is over here, and then there's the pool house. It's in some cases maybe as big as a regular house, and then you got to go with that. And then the pool equipment becomes much more complicated because instead of just a pump, a heater, a filter, now you have three or four pumps and water features. And we were at one house that had 12 different pumps because the pool was in different levels in different areas. And so it's a lot to look at and it's a lot to inspect. So
Yeah.
one of the things we love, so actually luxury inspections are one of our specialties because we have enough people that we can just send a big crew and get that
You
home.
can actually support it.
We can support it, and usually up to a certain size, get it done within 3 4 hours, just by sending more people.
Point.
Listing agents love because listing agents will show up and they've got their Starbucks, they've got their lunch, they've got their laptop, and they're planning on camping there all day. And we're like, "Yeah, we're done." And they're like, "Really? I can go home now? Like, I don't have to be here all day." Whereas I know with some of the one man crews, they're like, "Oh, they're going to be there for 8 hours and then they're going to come back the next day and finish." Now, the longest we ever took was 6.5 hours on. It was something like 16,000 square feet main house
Wow.
with pool and a guest house and a this and a that. So we had 7 people there for 6 hours.
Wow.
So we got it all done.
I, yeah, I remember once I was actually on vacation, came back, and we had a luxury home. It was about 10 million in escrow. We were representing the sellers, and they're like, "All right, Rick, we need you to camp out there from the inspection. Go there." The house was vacant, so there was no internet. It's all
Mhm.
Hollywood Hills. There was no reception,
Oh,
so I'm basically just like sitting there,
mm,
and I dreaded every minute. And I'm like, this counts towards like my dues towards this sale. Just because I was on vacation, this still counts because the torture was there. The torture was real.
yeah. I tell if you're on the listing side, okay, maybe you can't choose an inspection company, but you might want to tell your buyer to go to the company that has the manpower to get this done, which is us.
Right.
And
Right.
we do
No, and that's actually a really valid point.
So we do a lot of luxury homes and bigger homes just simply because we have the manpower to get them done. In fact, actually,
Yeah.
I had another inspector call me the other day. He's like, can I borrow one of your guys for one of my big jobs?" I'm like, if you can't handle the job, we'll be happy to take it off your hands.
Almost here, we'll do referrals.
Yeah, but so we're used to the big homes.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. I appreciate you coming on. So as we wrap this up, what are some of the big takeaways that people should be aware of and that we should be looking out for because this will get launched at some point before the end of the new year. So going into 2026, what are some things we should be looking out for?
As home buyers, things are going to be, buyers are starting to get definitely a little more savvy, I think. A lot more knowledge because you can go on the internet and you can find more articles and more videos and things, and you can ask AI questions. And I think agents need to be prepared for the buyers are coming in a lot more knowledgeable about
They're coming
things.
in pickier.
They're going to get pickier,
That's what
definitely.
I'm
And I think
noticing.
as inspectors, it's also important to point out like every home is going to have issues. You're never going to find a home that doesn't have issues. I said we can go to
Mm-hmm.
a brand new house and I'll still point out issues. There's always going to be things coming up. And then one thing I'm hoping for as an industry is real estate agents start seeing the inspectors a little more as resources, not just vendors going, please, can we have your inspection business, please? We do so
Mm-hmm.
many homes in a week. Agents will go, I've been in business 20 years. And okay, so you sold 3 houses a year. So you did,
That's why I
yeah,
asked you. You've been in more homes than I have.
oops. And for us, that's an average. That's a below average month. Like we see more houses in a day than most agents are going to see in several months, if not their entire year. So like we
Yeah.
have a lot of knowledge, and the agents, well, inspector, do you know how many transactions we're in on? Do you know how many agents we talk to? Do you know how many buyers and sellers we talk to? We know a lot within our realm, and so I'd love to see a little more cooperation there. Like we understand what we're doing. We're not just sitting around twiddling our thumbs, hoping that you might throw us a bone so we can have an inspection. Like we're running a legit business with legit knowledge and legit experience.
I remember it was 2021. So that 2021 was just an insane year. Like I remember I overpriced a home by $100,000 and I still got over that. And I was like, all right. But I remember I was working really well with other agents and even agents were like, Rick, why are you being so nice? I'm like, look, this is going to change. It can't be this wild forever. But the reality is, this has very much become a team sport. We need the good home inspectors. We need to give them their space. We need agents to give each other space. Like everyone's here for a reason. And if a deal has to fall out, it has to fall out. It just is what it is. But we also need to make sure that our clients are protected one way or another.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, we don't want deals to fall out. We want your deals to close so that we can all move on to the
Right.
next one. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I said better to walk away from a deal than get sued later because somebody didn't know, somebody said something and someone's unhappy. Better to walk away from a deal with a happy client than have a client who doesn't want to refer you anymore.
Yeah.
But
I
sometimes
mean,
it comes up with one of the questions you sent ahead of time, which we didn't get to, was like, what goes wrong with cheap inspectors? The guy who comes and does in and
mm,
out 45 minutes. Now the client's not happy. The guy didn't even go on their roof. We get these phone calls too. Hey, we just had a home inspection and that was terrible. Can you guys come out now? Okay, now we gotta, we can't always come out instantly because we're usually busy, but
yeah.
it makes the agent look bad, and then they're not going to get that referral later. So get the thorough inspection, get the happy experience, get all the knowledge you need, and then everyone's happy and everyone can move forward.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Thank you so much for coming on. How can people get a hold of you?
The company is IM Home Inspection. So the letter I, the letter M, homeinspections.com is the website. 818-298-3405 is the office number, and we're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all the social media channels.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate it. And thank you everyone for watching and listening. And I'll talk to you guys next week.
All right. Thank you.
Want to keep unlocking the secrets to building real wealth in Los Angeles? Stick around for the next episode. Tap the video on screen to keep watching.